Hello, my beautiful soul followers. I am all dressed up to go and have a nice dinner tonight. And where did I decide to do my live stream? Right on the floor by my Christmas tree. So that's how I roll. Get all dressed up and then sit on the floor. Sit on the floor and be comfy. So anyway. Today's topic kind of came to me. I overheard somebody in the store today, and it was a little kid, and they were actually like 10. They weren't really little, but it actually really stirred me in a good way of like processing. So this little kid was like, why does she always get everything? You like her better. And the child was obviously talking about her little sister. Like, why does she get everything? And I kind of chuckled because I remember being a kid and I remember, different rules for me versus other siblings. And how in truth, how I was raised was different than how my siblings were raised. Because guess what? We were different people. And it got me really thinking about our adult relationships because we keep this viewpoint that as we get older, we keep this viewpoint that everybody should get the exact same treatment in relationships, in our intimate relationships. So when I say intimate relationships, I'm not talking sexual relationships. I'm talking those closest to us. So if you have adult children, if you have friends, if you have really close family, and then of course, our intimate partner or partners. So the fact is, if you're in an open relationship, I've been in my fair share of open relationships. I work with people in open relationships, and guess what? Each and every one of their intimate sexual relationships is different. We talk about our boundaries. I'm having issues with this dress and not flashing you guys. Sorry, that's why I'm moving around. So we talk about our boundaries, like you need to know where your boundaries are. And you hear that a lot, and you hear that from coaches, and just like when we're doing our inner work, we're like, oh, I have to figure out my boundaries. I have to hold my boundaries. And a lot of times it's funny because there are always those people in our world that have different boundaries, the special ones. Okay, now we all should have our general boundaries. We should have the things like, you know what, if I'm dating a guy and he all of a sudden hits me, that's a breaking point. That's a no holds bar boundary for me. We're not doing that. It's like not gonna fly with me. But the fact is, we have other boundaries too. We have other things in our world that with each and every person is a little different. And so yes, like I know there's people in my life that I let get away with stuff that no one else in my life can get away with. No one else can get away. But why does that person or people in my world get away with certain things? Because of our relationship. Because that is how that relationship is built, that's that connection. But when we're little, we see this, we go, he or she gets to do this and this and this, and I want to do this, this, and this. I want the exact same. And as we get older, most of us realize that at some level, there is a difference between each and every person in our lives. But when we really think about it, we can get our feelings hurt, or we end up justifying and actually fucking up other relationships in our world because we're trying to make everything equal. And the fact is, each relationship has a different energy to it. Each relationship has different boundaries. Different energy at different points in our lives. If you're dating somebody at 18 and you get married to that person, then at 35, that energy between you and your partner is going to be different. That energy is going to be different. What you can get away with or not get away with each other. What you can talk about, the level of intimacy, all of it will be different. And so it's oftentimes we want to make these hardcore boundaries of like, I would never and I will never. And while we have to be careful with that, in the terms of letting people walk all over our boundaries and walk all over us, we don't want to go into that kind of downward spiral. At the same time, we have to realize that each and every relationship is different. And sometimes when somebody goes, why do you let, I had a conversation a couple weeks ago and somebody asked me, like, why do you let that person do that? And I said, because that's just us. That's just us. Like, that's how it is. And I'm okay with it. So if you're not okay with it, that's your issue. That's your issue. Because that is that relationship. And so to realize that in our lives, we do have special ones. It's not that anyone's more special than anyone else. It's recognizing the different energies. Because if you followed me for a long time, you know I believe that we have had past lives with people. We have soulmates. We have twin flames. We have all these different people, earth angels kind of energies in our lives. And everybody is going to pull something else out of us. No two energies are the same. So when you look at your relationships and go, you want to set these hardcore boundaries that are just like really, really not so incredibly rigid and not movable at all, look at it and go, is this a truly viable plan? Or how do I want to look at each and every relationship? If you're in an open relationship, what do you want for this relationship? What do you want for that relationship? What are the different energies? And sometimes it can be really interesting to look at the different energies and realize, oh wow, there's this connection here, and then there's this connection here. If you have kids, like even look at your different children. I'm sure your youngest child, if you have a couple children, I'm sure your youngest child has a different energy with you than your oldest child. You can go on all these TikToks and Instagrams and all these like funny little reels, and you see them all over the place. How we can look at the energy with our children if you have kids, or when we were kids, like looking at that energy. And you can look at your best friends. I have like 2 best friends, and I can say like, this friend our energy is completely different. Guess what? This friend, my friend of probably 17 years now, we have a completely different energy. And if I did some of the stuff I would do with my other best friend, she'd be like, Addison, you are crazy. What the heck is going on? Because we have different energies. And it's not that we want to be chameleons, but it's to recognize different energies and what different people bring out in us. And so a cool kind of thing to do to just learn more about yourself is to, first of all, just see who brings out what in you. Does one person in your life bring out, a really joyful, childlike spirit in you? Does another person bring out that kind of that sad, depressed pieces? Like, look at what other people are bringing out in you. Because then you'll know more about yourself, and then you'll also know where your wounds are, or where your desire is. Because if you're feeling ignited and excited in a relationship, then that tells you where your soul is calling you. So it's all looking at the different energies in relationship. It's not that one person is special, but guess what? We all can be special ones. We all can be special ones. We all can have different energies with each and every person. So anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic, because I think this can be controversial. I think this can be a little controversial because people want to create their boundaries and go, this is my boundary. And while you should have some non-negotiables in all of your relationships with your family, your friends, your kiddos, and even your romantic partners. Your romantic partners, I can tell you the last 3 guys I've dated, every one of them, there was a different energy, different boundaries with. depending on what they stirred in me. So looking at those things can be interesting. But I think that it can be controversial to look at, because we also don't want to get steamrolled. We don't want to not have boundaries. That's not healthy either. That's not healthy. The sex and relationship coach is not telling you not to have boundaries. It's checking what your boundaries are with each person at each different point in your life. So really looking at, now, what's that energy? What's that energy? And to also look at where you're expecting to be treated like somebody else. Guess what? You're unique. You're unique. And just like when I was a little kid and there's things that I could get away with, or things I got in trouble for that maybe my older sister didn't, that, the same thing rolls as adults. So just some food for thought before I head off and go have a great dinner. It is gorgeous out. I'm not sure if you can see the sunset in the background. It's absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, hope you are having a gorgeous evening. On another note, since we got the Christmas tree behind us, I have my Els Made Me Do It special. I do this every year. It's just fun and playful, but it does give a way for you to step into coaching, into your orgasmic frequency in a new way. It gives you a way to get a taste of it and really jump into 2022 this year with just some ease, because guess what? Our 2022 is not going to start happening on January 1st. We start to really prep for these things actually last month. So get on board. Get on board. So you can go to addisonbell.net, check it out, check that holiday special out. I have some package deals discounted so that everyone can start their growth process. Everyone can really start up-leveling, because I feel like 2022 is just going to be a year of up-leveling. Everyone has cleared the shit, and now it is time to take the world by storm, guys. At least my soul followers. So, all right, I'm going to let you go. I love you all. Let me know what you think about the things we talked about today. Like, share, comment. I love it all. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.